It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down.
All right, folks, welcome to our segment of Veteran Voices. First up, you're the guinea pig, but an honor to have you, Jerry Warner, First Sergeant, United States Marine Corps. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here so far.
So for those who don't know, we'll get that out of the way that you are the father of Trent Warner.
Yes.
Yep, my whole life.
Well, we're going to make sure of that.
He was in Vietnam when I was born. Or no, right after.
So you're a father of three, Trent, Brad, and Jerry Lee, husband to Barbara Warner, and you reside in Vinton, Virginia, where you have lived since 1989, is that right? Or somewhere in there? All right, so let's start off with, so people can get to know who you are. You were born and raised, I would say, in Howland County, right?
Correct.
All right, so being a person that has been going up there now for probably 25 years, there's not a lot to do in Highland, would you say?
No, well, in my day, we trapped and went raccoon hunting at night.
Yeah.
Raised dogs.
When did, I guess as a teenager, do you start thinking about work? Like, what are you going to do when you graduate, things like that? When does military service start to come into your thought process?
In 1958, we had the only TV in Musto.
No
Oh,
kidding.
wow.
The antenna had to go up on Gobbler's Knob. It was 375 yards.
I think I remember this.
Well, every day at 1 o'clock, there was a movie come on. And I don't know who the MC was, but I'm sure it was either CBS or NBC because we only got 2 channels.
Wow.
But Jack Webb was on there in 1957. Had a movie called The DI, which he was a drill instructor.
Oh, wow.
He was the head of Dragnet. And I said that there was like 6 of us sitting in the living room. And all of us said, I've got to do this.
Oh, wow.
Out of the 6 or 7 sitting in there, all my cousins, I'm the only one who went in the Marines. They all went in service, but they didn't go in the Marines.
Oh, wow.
And
Well, that's that brings up another good question. Why the Marines? Out of the 4 service places, why the Marines?
Well, according to that movie, if you made it through boot camp, you were going to be a success.
Well, be damned.
And I just never forgot that. I don't know if you can even find that movie on the...
Did you have a recruiter? Like,
Yes.
Back then, I didn't know when that
He
started.
drove from Stanton to Monterey, and I met him at the post office. And he gave me that ASVAB or something test. I missed one question out of the whole thing.
Good Lord.
Why does a person rowing a boat move their hip?
He remembers the question after all these years.
I didn't get it. It was so he don't bump his hip on the side of the boat. That's the only thing I missed out of all the math and everything.
darned.
So I guess they knew you weren't ready for the Navy.
Well, yeah.
You're going to the Marines.
All right, so now were you nervous when you first got on the bus, I guess, and got shipped off?
Well, yes. We got boarded a train in Richmond,
Okay.
and they took us down to, I think it was Columbia, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And they set us in the hot sun all day, waiting on a bus to take us over. And I thought, what's this out there, the footprints? And this was our first step at becoming a Marine. You get out there and line up on the yellow footprints. And I didn't have my thumbs along my trouser seams, so I got treated pretty rough for a little bit. But it was, no one ever did. Well, they do put their hands on you. Nobody got beat up or
Right. Man.
That was the first. After a week, it wasn't too bad.
But the first week was scary. I mean, you're away from. Was this the first time you're away from home?
Yes.
Like, oh, so you're gone from Highland. You're by yourself. You don't know anybody.
What are you, 18 years old? 19?
18.
18 years old, yeah.
When I went down the street, we called it the sea bag drag. Everything you get goes in a sea bag, and it's got to go a certain way. Well, we had to go like a quarter of a mile to where the barracks was, double timing. And if you dragged that sea bag, you were in a lot of trouble tearing up your government property.
Oh.
That was a long night.
Do you remember your drill instructor's name?
Oh, you don't ever forget them.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, G.E. Murphy got killed 2 years later in Vietnam.
Be damn.
Now, that's a good question I have for you. So, admittedly, I'm your son, and a lot of people don't know this about the Vietnam guys that came back. All of my friends, when we were in high school, we would talk about this. None of our dads ever talked about Vietnam. They didn't really talk about what they even did. None of us knew what our dads really did when we were in school. You guys just went to work. That's all I know. And you come back. So, but in 1968, 69, Vietnam has started. Do you have an idea that you could go to war, or is that why you signed up? I mean, is that
Well,
what your thoughts were?
I had wanted to set my name at the head of the draft, but they said you may not get in the Marines. So I went on and volunteered.
Knowing that you went to boot camp and you were likely to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So when you're at boot camp, do you have a vision in your head of, hey, I want to be a sergeant, or I want to be this later on, or are you just mentally focused on, I don't want to get killed?
Yeah. No, I was focused on trying to do the right thing in boot camp. That's all I had on my mind was
Just get through boot camp.
Get through boot camp.
What did you think of boot camp? Was it hard?
Well, I made a mistake. I didn't get in shape before I went down there. And we started out at 1.5 miles on jogging, and then you had a physical fitness test. It like to beat me to death in that heat. I arrived there on June 17th.
Good Lord.
Middle of summer. Whew.
Phew.
But if I had to do it over again, I'd still go at the same time, because when the humidity and the temperature gets so much, you get black flagged and you don't have to do anything.
That's
They're
right.
not allowed to do PT or anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
But they have a
Quantico-
way of getting back around that. They close the windows on the old wooden barracks, so you stand there, you're
Sweating there,
wringing
too.
wet sweat.
You know, when I was at the little boot camp that I did for the officers, the same thing. Well, I was there in July, and they would black flag us too. So those were felt like good days because you weren't doing all the grind you knew you had to do. Yeah.
So after boot camp, where are you sent to at that point?
Camp Geiger, North Carolina, for 6 weeks of infantry training.
Gotcha. So you went into infantry. I mean, was there other opportunities, or you just pretty much go where they tell you?
Yeah, you go where they tell you.
Okay.
Everybody from our platoon in boot camp, plus the whole series, went to ITR, Camp Lejeune, Camp Geiger. And we trained with the M14 at boot camp and qualified with them. Started out with an M14 at Camp Geiger, infantry training. All of a sudden, they come out and says, stop. You're going to clean these weapons, and I want them spotless, because you're getting some more here after a while. I thought, more M14s? What are they talking about? It was the M16.
No kidding.
Oh, wow.
And they had been tested somewhere, and they were so filthy. If our drill instructor would have seen one of them, you would have slept with it every night.
Wow.
Was there a noticeable difference between the two?
Oh, my
Like
goodness.
easier to shoot?
No.
Oh, really?
It was too small for me. I was used to laying it out there, and getting back from it and shooting the peep sights. Man, you didn't even adjust the sights on. You had to take your ink pen and turn the dial. You didn't move. Unless you were going to shoot more than 300 yards, you flipped the back sights. That's the only adjustment you had.
Yeah, so I never knew that you transitioned from the M14. Now VMI, when I went there, we still carried the M14 because of
I still think it was the best rifle ever made.
Oh, wow.
That's why I had to have a 308
Oh, yeah.
deer rifle.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that either. Man, I'm learning all kinds of stuff
See,
here.
look at that.
That's really cool.
All right. So after that, where do you head off to?
I went to Cherry Point and thought I was going to get a aviation something. I went up to Highland County and got my wife and him, and we went to government quarters. 30 days later, they said, your Westpac orders are in. I said, Westpac? What's that? He said, you're going to Vietnam.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
So I had to call my dad to come and get Trent and my wife.
Holy cow.
We didn't have a car. I only got $32 a payday every 2 weeks because we were living in government quarters.
And that's what was the distance back then to go from Cherry Point, which is near Havelock and the eastern shore of North Carolina? How long would it take you to go from that back up to Highland County if you travel?
I always hitchhiked it about all night.
Can you believe that?
No,
That
I
back
know.
in the
My
day,
uncle tells me
hitchhikers.
that. Yeah, he went back and forth. To
Well, all you
Virginia
had to do was wear a uniform. Everybody picked you up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't imagine anyone could go there now in 3 days hitchhiking.
Yeah, no one would pick you up. Yeah.
They had a place called Swoop Circle at Camp Lejeune. And the MPs would stand out there. All right, we got one going to Stanton, Virginia. Who wants to go to Stanton, Virginia? And it'd be 8 or 10 of us.
Wow.
So what rank were you when you left to go to Vietnam?
Private first class, E2.
Okay. E2. So, all right. What's it like? You've got these orders. Are you, and I've never been in the military, so I don't know. Or is this something where the group, your platoon, are going together, or is this where like you get this and you're like excited or upset, or you're all looking at each other and go, "I got papers, you didn't." You know, is that?
No, we actually were sitting on pins and needles flying from Okinawa to Vietnam. I didn't know. It was plain. I never flew till I left.
Oh, wow.
On there, and that, man, knowing you're going to Vietnam, and we got so scared. They said, there's trouble on the runway. We're going to have to do a circle. The captain of the plane said that. I thought, man, they've already shot one of them down. They had wrecked one of them trucks that had the ladders on it.
Oh.
They had flipped it over.
So this brings me back. So when you leave, where do you leave from? Do you leave from Cherry Point, or do you leave from another?
Yes, we did, because what happened was we had to go through a different, what they call staging. They used to send everybody to California and fly them out of there. But they did that first cut of troops in, I think it was during Nixon time, 71 or something. They took too many out. People were getting overrun over there, so they had to hurry up and send 300 Marines back over there.
Wow.
So I didn't go to the California staging. I did mine at Cherry Point.
Okay.
So we flew out of Cherry Point.
Straight to Okinawa?
I don't remember where we stopped.
God.
No. We stopped in LAX and got on.
Okay.
Stopped in Anchorage, Alaska, and headed on in to Okinawa, Camp Hague.
And you get there. Are you with people you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so you at least feel a little comfortable. You're at least around
Never
people.
saw any of them after that, except when we come back from Vietnam. I met one of them at Camp Lejeune.
Are you serious? Holy cow.
What was your? Did you pick up a nickname by the chance while you were in boot camp or along the way at Vietnam? I know
JW.
JW.
That's what everybody's always called me. The Sarge didn't come about till I started driving truck.
Yeah, that's I
Okay.
I did know that too because
if one of my troops had called me that, you think I'm in the Army?
All right, so when they bring you to Vietnam, I'm assuming you're landing at a base in Vietnam, and then your platoon. You said they went different places, so they just stick you with a different group of people.
Said we were going to Red Beach. I thought, we going to make a landing or what? And gave us our war gear and everything. Red Beach was by High Vaughn Pass, and that was our area to control. And I still believe to this day they only wanted us up there because there was an Exxon and a Shell station refinery up there.
Protecting oil.
I gotcha. So did you see much combat during this?
We got shot
Stint?
at a lot, but I didn't get return much fire. We returned fire. My God, we'd shoot thousands of rounds, but you don't know what we hit.
Right.
Couldn't go down there because the area was all landmined and everything. So,
What's the quarters like that you're sleeping in? I mean, is it a barracks type style, or are you sleeping out in the jungle? I mean,
well, sometimes night patrol and that we sleep outside, let the mosquitoes jerk covers off of us. Then the barracks, when we was back to the Red Beach area, was plywood with sandbags all around it, and exposed 2x4s, rafters, all that. But it did have a tin roof, which typhoon come by and took ours off. But
good Lord.
and they had a boardwalk. We used to count how many rats were running down the forest when we were going to the chow hall.
Did you see Vietnamese people?
Oh my goodness!
Friendlies, I guess. So they're everywhere too.
I was a guard at a Chu Hoi village up in the tower. I saw all kinds of them up there, and that's where we used to get sniped at.
Oh my God!
They surrender, Chu Hoi, and then they go find them a gun in the Chu Hoi village.
Wow.
So when you were there, obviously Mom's back in Highland County. Is Brad born? When did I really don't know this answer.
Yeah.
So she's pregnant with Brad, right?
Yeah, we knew that before I left.
Yeah. So she has him before you come back.
Oh yeah,
That's right. Yeah. I thought I'd just make sure I knew my
Get that on the
story.
checklist. He knew before he left.
Before he left, Brad.
It's okay, Brad. You are really a Warner.
There are times he could tell you some stories we doubted it.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
he left a little bit to be desired a few times.
So then you transition back and you come back from that. And I would like to have your opinion on that, because some of the story for us growing up was Vietnam veterans were not treated well coming back. Could you still hitchhike then? Could you be picked up for a while? I mean, was there animosity? Were you surprised when you came back?
I bought a 62 Chevrolet Super Sport so I could travel back and forth when I could afford gas.
Yeah.
And get some government quarters to move my family down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had an awful time. They told us to not wear a uniform unless you want to. Well, my clothes, I had dropped 30 pounds. I didn't even have a belt tight enough, so I had to wear my uniform. But they took us around back. We couldn't go in the main entrance. There was 300 people out there with signs talking about baby killers and all that. We didn't get a very good welcome home.
Yeah.
And where was that landing? Where did you come back?
That was LAX.
At LAX.
We flew into Norton Air Force Base. In 20 minutes, they had us going home.
Do you encounter other types of military people while you're there? Like, do you see Air Force or Army?
Yeah.
Okay.
We always went down to Da Nang Air Force Base because they could buy whiskey. If you weren't an E6 or above, you could only buy a beer, and it had to be at the club. You couldn't have it in the barracks or nothing.
Wow.
So we'd go down there and take an old dirty bayonet or an old Ho Chi Minh hat or something and say, I'll give you this if you buy me a bottle of bourbon.
Well, that brings up a question back in Vietnam. Do you have days off? Or are you just on duty? Okay. So on the days off,
Well,
you
your
just...
days off, you clean up your weapons and all that. But, we would, about every 3 weeks, we would get Saturday and a half a day Sunday off. We could go to Freedom Hill. I was supposed to go down and see Bob Hope, but we didn't make it that day.
Okay. Yeah. 'Cause I mean, I've often wondered that. I mean,
Yeah.
we hear these tours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was over there for 18 months straight. It's like, God, what did you do?
Yeah.
I mean, combat for 18,
You're always busy, but there's times I like being on patrol. There's times you go 2 days you don't do nothing to soak up sunshine and
Right.
eat chow. The Marine Corps always tried to get us one hot meal a day. It wasn't that bad.
So when you came back, where were your? Where did you spend most of your time?
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune, and that's when you started moving up. You're at E. When you
Yeah.
came back, or did you get promoted while you were there, or when you come back?
When I came back, I picked up corporal was waiting on me. I didn't even realize that. I picked up corporal. It was already a warrant there for me. And I got to thinking Trent and Bradley both had pneumonia
Oh wow,
while I was there. And
what's wrong?
it was, well,
Mom.
I got to thinking if I had been a civilian, I'd be bankrupt right now.
Yeah,
Instead, I think it was $3.50 worth of food they ate while they were in there. But I had that much. So
jeez.
I decided I was going to make a career out of it.
You did. So that, I mean, what made you just figured? You know what? I'm better off in here than I am out there.
That's right, because I've never done anything. I cut a little pulpwood before I went in
Right.
service, but that wasn't very fun.
No.
I had
Tough life.
I had some good tours. I spent 4 years there as a sergeant. Transferred. I figured I stood a chance of none to get a go on I&I reserve training reservists. So I knew there was one in Lynchburg for Marines, and I knew there was one in Roanoke. The guy in Roanoke married a Navy gal, and he wanted transferred back to Norfolk. And he said, "Man, I got to find somebody." Well, here's one that's already ready to go. So we came to Roanoke in 1974.
Wow.
Picked up E6 in 77. Got orders for the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing back at Cherry Point. I said, "Man, I always wanted a wing tour." Didn't happen. I got the wing tour, but my orders had been modified when I got there. I'm always getting something different. They had relieved an administrator at Force Logistics Command, and that's at Cherry Point. So I went to Force Troops, and that was, boy, I'm telling you what's a fact. I worked day and night for 3 of the longest years at that place. That was a hard duty station.
So that
What
was
kind of work is that? Force logistics. What kind of work?
Force Logistics for the wing is all those, everything that doesn't deal with an aircraft that they use logistically is done by the Marines there. RT 6000 forklifts, piece of junks. There was probably 20 of them out in at the barracks there all the time. They were broke this way and broke that way.
So it's a lot of things that people always see the glory of the shooting, the
Right.
front lines, the aircraft, and all that. But there are so many more people that are all around that,
Oh,
and
my
the logistics of that is a nightmare.
I say our motor transport section there, there's probably 30 men there working just in motor transport.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they came out with the greatest truck I've ever seen in my life. A Dodge M880. That was the sorriest piece of stuff that the government ever purchased.
wow.
It didn't have enough power to pull the ammo off of the, you have to stack the ammo blocks underneath it so the tires don't get flat, flattened out from sitting because
Gotcha.
tons of ammo.
Yeah.
and things.
Your flat spot.
We had to go back and get the old Willys Jeeps to pull them off.
Wow. Good Lord.
There was just always something like that. But then they got rid of that M880. They come out with a Chevrolet Cup V with a diesel engine. Another mistake.
That's what Brian drives. Chevrolet with a diesel engine.
25.
Yeah, these were.
Duramax.
They never set up the rear ends right. They set them up for the highway, and when we were in the Mediterranean, they didn't have enough power to, even in low range, to get us through the 6 inches of sand out
Oh,
there.
man.
Lord.
But then the Humvee come out.
Oh boy. General Motors.
Yeah.
That was a good vehicle.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see out the right mirror. Something else.
Nothing's changed.
You weren't allowed to get out to put it in reverse till your A driver, which is your passenger in the front, he has to go back to your side of the mirror so he can guide you back because you can't see off the right side.
Right
of
there.
him. But boy, that thing had an engine in it.
What rank are you when you're at that? Are you sergeant at that
I
point?
was first sergeant at that point.
Okay.
I picked up gunnery sergeant in Okinawa in 1980.
And that's something else to discuss. You too. You've also spent tours overseas, sometimes on a ship, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go on a ship with the Navy, and then you go around, I guess, the Mediterranean. And you remember that? And that was the USS Nassau. Is that the one you were on? And
Every
then
ship that went with us out there has been decommissioned and scrapped.
no kidding.
Couldn't believe it. Now, Peyton is on the same kind of one of the new LPDs, a landing platform.
Yeah.
And
So that's something that I think most people don't know is you're doing tours, but they're not necessarily combat tours at this point.
Well-
you did the combat tour to Vietnam.
when I picked up first sergeant, I went to the senior academy at Quantico, and I said, "Man, I'm really worried about this going back to 2nd Marine Division. I haven't been back here in 10 years, 15 years." They said, don't worry. You'll just get a line company. You won't have to worry about being in an agent headquarters and service company, and you definitely will not get weapons company. That's the senior first sergeant. I checked in the regimental headquarters, and he said, "Thank goodness you're here. We just relieved the first sergeant up in weapons company for Bible thumping somebody." And there I went to weapons company, and I asked the ops chief, I said, "Where are the old mules shooting the 106s?" He said, "How damn long have you been gone?" He said,
Oh my Lord.
"They got rid of them a long time ago." They had weapons I had no idea, but boy, they were some nice ones. Squad automatic weapons.
So you liked that part?
Yeah.
Okay. How
And-
long did you do that?
2 years, to 89, 87 to 89,
Oh, wow.
till I retired.
So that was right at the end.
Yeah.
But before you got to that part, you did serve you went to Okinawa.
Yeah.
You went overseas, 2 different stints, right? Didn't you
No,
go?
just one.
Just the
year-long
one?
stint.
Okay, year.
Okinawa. Now, I went through Okinawa a couple times.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I think I was in the 3rd grade when you went to Okinawa, 3rd or 4th grade.
What's that like? Because, the Marines have been going to Okinawa now for
Yeah, so you're in Japan.
50 years.
Well, when we come back from Vietnam, it was U.S. controlled. And there was more non-copper money, just silver quarters and dimes and 50-cent pieces. In 1980, it was given back to the Japanese. Man, when you could go over there with a $5 bill, you could pick up 200 yen. This time she was almost dollar for dollar in 1980. And they had cut down all the training we used to do, firing. It was a lot of restrictions.
But
there.
did Brad go to Okinawa?
No,
He did not.
I think he did a tour in Hawaii. I think he went when he was
I know,
doing one of his
Norway or
summer things. He went to Norway. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did do
I
that.
do remember that.
I had a tour up there.
Nice.
Northern wedding. I don't know why they said it was a wedding, but yeah, that was. I was looking for reindeer. They said, "Oh, they move them out of here this kind of weather."
But you're still there.
It was all right for us to be there. And when we landed, we hit the beach, and
Is this at Norway? Yeah.
Colonel Bathurst, who had been every rank from private, and he was a full bird colonel selectee when we got there, he said, "Well, I'm going to do something that they're not going to expect. I'm going into where Hitler and them caught him down in that valley. Put it to all of them. So we're going the same way. Do you know they were down there again? I mean, just not shooting real ammo, but simulators. We wiped out every one of those Scorpion tanks that they had on. Never learned.
Yeah. Then you also spent some time in Morocco too, right? Didn't you do some training
Yeah.
there?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Morocco, Israel,
Yeah, I know. I remember you went to Israel
Portugal.
too.
Oh, wow.
What was your Israel trip like? Didn't you go on some personal tours or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there. A whole bunch of my men got baptized there.
No kidding.
Darn.
They treated us like gold there.
Yeah.
Man, that was. And you never know that there's problems there, but you have to learn how to live like they do. If you go to, let's see, there's none of them over, but you go to Kroger's and you're going to walk next door to Tractor Supply, a door will fly open, and they'll say, what you got in that bag? You don't take anything from store to store. That's the way they live their life over there.
Makes sense.
So you wrap up everything in 1989, right? You
Yes.
retired in Roanoke, Virginia. Was that scary? Because
Yes.
you've been in a regiment, for a long time, and then all of a sudden,
I didn't know what I was going to do.
right?
But I knew if we go to Roanoke, my wife could probably get back with civil service again. And we come up behind a Virginia, Carolina tractor trailer. It said, we are hiring and we train our own drivers. And I said, that's what I'm going to do.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
You drove a truck for many years.
Yeah.
And you became Sarge. That's
That's when I
How you
became
got your name.
sergeant.
that was a CB handle.
Do a lot of veterans join these different organizations? Are you a member of?
I'm a life member of the, American Legion, VFW, and Disabled American Veterans.
Do you get a chance to get around the old time? I call them old timers. I mean, they're
Yeah, I had the pleasure of pushing a World War II. I don't think he even knew I was there yesterday when I went to the VA. I said, it would be an honor if I could push you to the second floor. He said, I'm ready. And he said, your size, I bet you was one hell of a sergeant. I said, how long did you spend in there? He said, 40 to 45. And I said, well, he had a Marine hat on. I said, Semper Fi, buddy. He said,
that's awesome.
Now, if you could tell people that don't know this, one of the stories I remember you telling me, I was probably in high school or early college life, was when you were the first sergeant, you were in command of so many enlisted troops underneath you, right?
110.
The hardest thing that you had to deal with was not fights and battles and stuff like that. The number one thing you had to deal with was troops bouncing checks in Camp Lejeune. They thought if they had a check, they had money.
Marines go out drinking as long as they got checks, they're going to write them. So when we were out on the ship in Israel, the word came down all first sergeants report to Colonel Bathurst's quarters, except First Sergeant Warner. I thought, man, he must be going to relieve me or something. Well, what I did was if a man wrote a bad check, the sergeant in charge of that squad, his rear end was mine because he wasn't taking charge of the checkbook.
Sure.
Because everybody's direct deposit in service now. You don't get checks. And I didn't have any bad checks. Some of them guys had stacks in their company half inch high.
Wow.
And it's a bad look for the Marine Corps because people are writing bad checks in the towns. Camp Lejeune, where it is, you got Jacksonville right outside. So you could have troops writing bad checks, and it just gives a bad name for the Marine Corps.
Yep.
So those are just little things you don't think about that the guys have to deal with.
Oh, and everybody's married now and has an automobile.
Yeah.
More nightmares for a first sergeant.
Why would that be? What's because they get in trouble driving?
Well, drunk driving is worse than a court martial for a staff. E6 and above, that's the end of his career if he gets to drunk driving, especially on base.
Yeah.
And wives, we leave out on a ship to go somewhere or something, the messages start coming in, so-and-so that left without leaving any money to this one and that one, and boy, it just goes on and on.
Wow.
Your mother was in charge of the wives
I remember
organization there. Man, it was nonstop problems out there.
Yeah, because that's another thing you don't think about. All the guys are in there doing the tour on the ship, and the wives are back home with their kids, so they had support groups for each other. My mom was active in that too.
Yes, she was like vice president or something of it.
So I'm just curious, this just popped in my head. When did you find out your little brother joined the Marine Corps?
About let me think. Probably about 1977, 78.
Did you have anything to do with that, or you were just wow.
He just wanted to be like me.
I know, I figured.
Just like Bradley.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what happens a lot. I mean,
Well, yeah.
I would say so.
When I was about 85, before I picked up first sergeant, I didn't have to stay on recruiting duty very long, and I looked at the regulations, and if you owned a home, they had to put you in that area. So I still owned an old home up Francis Drive. So I used that so I could come back to Roanoke.
I'll be there.
And that was the hardest tour of duty I ever had.
Which one?
Recruiting.
Oh, yeah. That's when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
9th, 10th, 11th grade.
Patrick Henry.
Yep.
They
You were recruiting. I remember the stress you were under because
Oh,
you
my
had to make numbers, right?
Yeah, and I was
your
in
quota.
charge.
Yeah.
So I had quota, plus I had a guy I had to retrain every other morning.
I remember. I don't want to say
There
the name,
was
yeah.
so much math involved, and I don't think he knew what 2 + 2 was. And the reason you make a mark on everything is at the end of the month, you can find out, hey, I got to start making more phone calls. Hey, I got to do more, this and that.
Yeah.
But I picked up first sergeant. I was in Newcastle, Virginia, given a band award, a John Philip Sousa award to a little girl, and some little gal come out of the office and said, there's a guy named Master Sergeant McCain says you got to speak to him right now. I said, well, you just have to take a damn number. So I went to gave the award out and everything. She was so tickled over that. And I went back down there and I said, I need to use your phone. She said, yes, he's called here twice. I said, well, maybe they've done something to go relieve me. He said, well, you're off recruiting duty. I said, what did I do? He said, you picked up first sergeant. I said, oh. At that time, if you made master sergeant, you became a career recruiter.
Mm.
But if you picked up first sergeant, which is the same pay grade, you couldn't stay on recruiting duty because they didn't want you to get in any trouble out there recruiting. And they were short on first sergeants all over the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
The only thing they're ever over on the staff is sergeant majors. You don't need but one per
Yeah.
battalion.
What's after that? I mean, for an enlistee, anything? Or is that about as high as you can get?
First sergeant's an E8, sergeant major and master gunnery sergeant are E9s.
Okay.
That's the top of it.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get along with officers? Trick question.
I always did until I went back to the infantry. And I never, some of them lieutenants needed to wise up a little bit. They were too friendly with the troops, for one thing.
Yeah.
And Colonel Bathurst took over. When you were in the rear, officers stayed away. The first sergeants promoted everybody, read their warrants off for them. He let the enlisted people run it, and then that was better. But the second lieutenants, they're right out of OCS. You jump in their ass, and they will say, yes, first sergeant, yes, first sergeant.
Did anything change while you were in there, the 20 years, like, that you recall? Was it getting softer, or the rules getting softer, or was it the same as when you got in? I mean,
It was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Discipline and all that. But yeah, I never saw a whole lot of change.
Yeah, so
But I
boot
heard
camp-
about it after I left.
boot camp, it was run the same. Do you think it's the same today? Do you think the Marine Corps looks the same today as when you retired?
Yeah,
They've kept it the same. That's good.
yeah. They still honor everything they did before and pride in their uniforms.
Yeah.
All right, we're wrapping up our segment with Jerry Warner, First Sergeant, United States Marine Corps. Thank you for coming on the show today. But before you leave, we've got the toughest question you'll ever answer.
Okay.
Past or present, they can be dead or alive. If you had 24 hours that you could spend with a person, who is that person and where would you go and hang out with them?
Well, that's a good question. I had an awful lot of people I really admired in there. Probably Colonel Bathurst, my last colonel I had.
He seems like a real cool
When he
person.
picked up colonel, they sent him to somewhere around Chesapeake training those boat people to stop the drugs and stuff. He was training all them.
I mean,
and I don't know where he is now. But
wow.
yeah, he was. Man, that guy had every decoration. He had 6 inches of ribbons.
I'll be there. Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.